Welcome to Rauta 5. 5 different releases for your listening pleasure from various styles, from various sources, various styles and places on Earth. And these are mostly olden releases. There at least one which is a relatively newer one, but it's here because it's a tape. Going once again through alphabetical order, so let's see how it goes. First, we'll start with a band called Flesh Worship, and this is indeed tape. This is actually the newest one of the whole bunch here. If I'm not mistaken, this was 2020 release, might be 2021, but that doesn't really matter. What matters here is that this band comes from Australia, and even though the name might indicate something different, at least that was going on with me, I was expecting some kind of a grind or whatever. This is in fact kind of a crusty black metal with a little bit of this kind of rock and rollish groovy. Don't get afraid, that doesn't mean this is happy and groovy and, you know, all that kind of joyful stuff. This is right to the point with some kind of aggression, even somewhat punkish ways, and in my opinion this one is rather good. It's kind of a dirty, it has this kind of Australian groove, if you will, and you know, all in all, these short and sweet songs are right to the point. No gimmicks, no bullshit, no arty, fargy, avant-garde-ish stuff, but you know, getting that punch in your face, getting beers and naked ladies, and moving on. This is about 20 something minutes, so it's not a full-length album, but kind of a EP on tape. Definitely worth checking out. That totally surprised me positively. Then we have a release from Finland in 2018. This is From the Void and Hänen valonsa, His Light, and translated. Has 4 original songs and then a cover. This is a side project like band with 4 members playing various other bands. And even though the band has been here for more than a decade, this one is their first and so far only release. Now the style is a combination of mostly melodic black metal, but some kind of a death metalish vibe. It mostly comes because of this kind of a growlier vocals, but also some of the riffs refer to band members' past or current situation with somewhat death metallic things. Like I said, this is a side project, though these guys are busy with their other bands, but this is definitely worth trying. However, because of this MCD nature of the release, it feels like this is actually a demo that is self-released. However, this really looks nice. Doesn't have the feeling of your typical cheap and of a self-financed release, but this is a self-financed release with kind of a nice old school cardboard feeling. Looks nice, feels nice, and as a release, it's pretty decent, but not great. Definitely worth checking out, however. Then we go to German, 2018, and Mavorim. This is the first album called Silent Leges Inter Arma, or something like that. Now, Mavorim is one of those German black metal bands that have the kind of a melodic touch with their music. One could even say those melodics are somewhat related to kind of medieval folk music or whatever. I wouldn't say it's at least too far-fetched to go as far, even though it's maybe not that folky, but there's definitely something very traditional with the melodics. This is very plain and simple design here, released by Purity Through Fire, as I think most, if not all, Mavorim releases so far. This is not the best by the band, but it's definitely quite nice a release. You know, having those catchy tunes, rather nice melodics and all that stuff. However, if I was to bitch about something, is that this could be a lot more raw, much kind of a catchier, less sweet and all that stuff. Now, people who like melodic black metal probably don't mind the kind of a sweet melodies, but I don't know. I kind of want my black metal to be a little bit more raw, even if I don't mind the catchier parts of, you know, being melodic black metal. However, this one is pretty nice. Overall, good sounding, you know, the production is very solid. There's nothing to bitch about the vocals and all that stuff. But given that this is the first album by the band, it's clear that the band kind of evolved into a little bit better later on. But in case you missed this one back in the days when it was released, definitely worth checking out. Mavorim is doing a good job with its music and can't wait to hear more. And then we have another Australian band called Rituals. This one is also an MCD called Neoteric Commencements. I've actually heard the band in a wrong order. That is, I heard first the newer EP release. The band doesn't yet have a full-length album out, so there's only a couple of these kind of EPs. And this is probably the most Swedish-sounding band from Australia ever, because as with the second EP, this one is definitely tapping to so-called Gothenburg sound. It's also taking parts of the kind of a death thrash part, referring to At the Gates here, but also having this kind of dark tranquility in flames or whatever kind of melodic death metal stuff, but having definitely more death in their melodic metal than so many of their bands. For example, this one actually has growlier vocals, not this kind of a screamer types what Dark Tranquility and In Flames were using back in the days. So one could even say this is closer to what Hypocrisy was doing. So very, very Swedish sounding, and I guess that Dan Svano production has something to do with that. But even the songwriting is very, very Swedish. If you like that kind of style, this is definitely something to check out. Pretty good also. And the last pretty good, but no cigar, released on this video is one from Poland. This is also a side project. This one is called Thurthul, and curiously enough, this MCD as well. As you notice, 4 of these 5 releases are all EPs or MCDs. Well, this EP is also something that I heard later when I heard the second one, I mean the full album by the band earlier on. This one is a one-man project from Poland playing black metal, the kind of a pagan stuff, and already the name is Heritage and Blood. One could say this has somewhat of a national vibe going on, especially when they are covering Goat Moon here. So 4 original tracks plus Goat Moon cover, which is then again featuring a Finnish vocalist, Valtteri Pasanen, who has its own bands in Finland. And it's actually quite different from Thurthul's own material here. Now, being a Nyctophilia side project, which is then again kind of a depressive, suicidal black metal, more on the atmospheric side, Thurthul is kind of a more traditional pagan black metal with a little bit more aggression with the vocals and songwriting. It's a little bit more energetic and all. One could say it's definitely quite Polish in style, both in good and bad, but definitely more on the good side. I think this is actually quite enjoyable release, but let's be honest about it, not very good. I mean, Nyctophilia, which is the older solo project than this one, is more progressed in terms of songwriting and all, but clearly that experience is put into use with this one as well. Like the newer Thurthul, which I previously reviewed, this one is pretty decent, but not exactly great. So once again, something to listen to, but have your expectations a little bit, held down. So if all these 5 releases would be compared, put into competition, which one would be the winner? Not that I usually do that. I would say go with Flesh Worship. It's the best one of this pile. But all in all, I would say all these 4 releases, which are, except for the Mavorim, all MCDs, I would say these are pretty much the solid 7 out of 10. So pretty good, not great. This is closer to 8, maybe not exactly 8 out of 10, but something like 7.5 out of 10. Well, of course, because some people actually ask for it. Pretty good, not great. Go check them out, and I hope you find something likable in that pile. Now, while you're going through these releases on your own and finding something to buy, take care and have a great weekend. Rauta